Hi, I'm Maria Thea Harris-Silvello on social media. You're listening to another great Sew Over 50 podcast on Sew Organised Style. Stay listening.
Sew Organised Style podcast acknowledges traditional owners of country throughout Australia. We pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and to the elders past, present and emerging.
Thanks for joining us again on Sew Organised Style podcast for this Sew Over 50 podcast series about sewing friends. Sew Over 50 intersects with all communities. Lynne of Lines Made with Love and Linda of Granny Linda Sews are today's sewing friend guests. Let's give them a warm welcome. Hi, Lynne and Linda.
Hi.
Hi.
Where's Linda? Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Lynne, can you tell us about how you both met?
Okay, well, I joined in with a friendship group. It was set up by Loopy Mabel's Closet and Sewing Modern Vintage. And they were two ladies who set up a challenge, which was to get people in different countries or different parts of the same country to get together and do a project together. And the project was to sew a dress. I'm wearing the dress that I sewed, and it's got in it lots of bits and pieces of haberdashery from my partner. So I was partnered with Deb, Crafty Mystic, in America, and she and I each made a dress. This is mine. The story begins there. I went for coffee one morning with my mum at a Costa coffee shop, and I wore this dress proudly, and then I went home, and within minutes, there was a message from someone I'd never met before. That person was Linda. And she simply said, were you at Costa this morning? And I thought, well, yes, I was, but how could anyone, I don't understand why you're asking. Anyway, she explained she'd recognized the dress from Instagram. She hadn't recognized me, she'd recognized the dress. So that was the beginning of our really lovely friendship, because we arranged to meet and chat about sewing. And when we met, we decided to call ourselves the Sewing Angels of the North, because near to both of us, there's the most wonderful sculpture of an angel. And it's a huge sculpture, and it's called the Angel of the North. So we decided we'd be Sewing Angels of the North, didn't we, Linda?
Yes.
So that was the beginning of it, Maria.
Linda, what was it about the dress that caught your eye that day at Costa's Coffee?
It was the fabric. I didn't see who was wearing it. It was just the fabric. I think it was a Lady McElroy or something like that. It was something that stood out, because I'd only just started sewing, and my husband and I were sitting, and I said, oh, look at that dress. And then for some reason, when I went on Instagram, I saw Lynne, and as Lynne said, I connected with her, and it's been like that for the last 2 years, hasn't it?
It has.
Lynne and I met along with another Sewing Angel of the North, Marilyn, who's Mazzarini on Instagram, and we become firm friends. I was making clothes, but I was never wearing them. Lynne gave me the confidence to wear the clothes I was making.
Thank you.
And we've just gone from strength to strength, haven't we?
We certainly have.
We've been each other's confidant. We've been each other's shoulder to cry on. Everything in life, really, like true sisters, I feel anyway.
Thank you so much. I feel just the same.
Sewing ladies are so special. I don't know if you find that, Marie, but every sewing person I've met has been wonderful. In fact, we just had a meetup on Wednesday, and there was 13 of us, Sewing Angels of the North. So, through lockdown, it's been a godsend. They've really helped each other out. It's been wonderful.
And when you've met up in real life after lockdown, what was that like?
It was just natural, as if we'd known each other for years. It's the same with every sewing person I've met. It's as if we've known each other for years. It's just we haven't physically met. They're so special. It's just
we just have such a lot in common through our sewing.
And then what sort of experiences have you all shared together?
Well, let me start with how Linda and I share those experiences together.
Okay.
Because it's absolutely true that she and I have remained constant friends, and we're both ladies of a certain age, and it's often difficult to make friends when you're a lady of a certain age. But through sewing, you've immediately got something to talk about. But we didn't just talk about sewing when we would meet for our coffees. And she and I both had certain things happening in our lives that were challenges for us.
Yep.
And I can honestly say that Linda helps me every day through those challenges in life. And it's just someone that I can share something. It might be an issue to do with family, for example, a member of the family. And she and I could be there for each other whenever we had concerns about anything, really. And I felt as though Linda held my hand through lockdown, and I could guarantee that at least 3-4 times a week, she'd check in with me and check if I was okay. And I do the same with Linda. And we just were there for each other. And we could talk about family issues because we were connected. We had become connected together, and we could talk about these things without fear or embarrassment or worry. But then, of course, we could support each other with our sewing, because Linda wasn't confident. She was a great person to sew. She was wonderful at sewing and very excited and enthusiastic. But then she'd make the garment and put it in the wardrobe. Eh, Linda?
That's right.
And I would say, come on, you look fabulous. Come on, go for it. And as you can tell, I kind of am not really lacking in confidence. So it worked out really well. Even though I appear very confident, I was a new sewist. My daughter helped me so much. She's Tamlin at Sewn on the Tyne, and she helped me a lot, but she was too busy to be there. But Linda and I could help each other. How do you do this? And I struggled with a pair of Pietra pants to get the pockets right. So immediately I contacted Linda, and Linda sent me a little video. Hey, presto, I could do it. It was wonderful. So they're the kinds of things that we share.
You're new to sewing.
Yes, exactly. 2 years. I've been sewing for 2 years. I'd sewn cushions and little bags and tote bags before,
Yep.
But it was my daughter Tamlin who introduced me to dressmaking. She said, yes, you can do it, Mum. And that was 2 years ago. And I just never stopped sewing.
That's great. Linda, how long have you been sewing for?
Off and on for years, but nothing serious, just but same as Lynn. I got a sewing machine about 2 years ago and started through lockdown just to keep me sane, really.
Yes.
And as Lynn pointed out, we're both ladies of a certain age, but funnily enough, age isn't an issue with sewing people. I've got sewing friends who are teenagers. I've got sewing friends in their 20s. So there's no age barrier for sewing.
If I can pick up on the point that you've both made earlier, people of a certain age find it more difficult to find friends. Is that what you were saying?
Well, I said that. Yeah. Do you agree, Linda?
Oh, yes, definitely. I've never been one for girlfriends in my adult life, and now I've got some wonderful friends.
All through sewing.
Yes.
And Instagram, of course.
Oh, yes, Instagram.
Because we just sewing in our own rooms, wouldn't we? All on our own, because sewing can be lonely. But with the power of Instagram, we've made more friends than you could imagine, all in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And would that have been through the Sew Over 50 community?
Yes.
Almost definitely. We always tag Sew Over 50. And yeah, there are many other groups that we're part of, but Sew Over 50 is fabulous.
And I always tag Sew Over 70.
I can next year, Linda.
I'm 73.
Oh, I'm the baby.
Wow. As you said, sewing has brought you together, and sewing has also widened your personal friendships now.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's not just sewing that you then talk about after that.
We talk about everything, things that we like to do, things that we want to do. Would you agree, Linda?
Oh, yes, definitely. We do meet up for coffee face to face a couple of times a month. But now that the world's opening a bit after lockdown, like the event we had on Wednesday, meeting up with other people from around the area, was so special, wasn't it?
Oh, it was lovely. It was absolutely wonderful. We met at a local fabric shop and it was just non-stop chat. And then we all went off for coffee and it was more non-stop chat. And it was about sewing and it was about patterns and it was about fabric, but also it was about our lives. And it was a joy. It was a joyful day.
You need joyful days like that more often, right?
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Linda, what was it that made you make clothes but then not wear them? What was it that was holding you back?
I've never been one for clothes. I was a single parent with 4 children, so their priority was more important than my clothes. You know, even as I was getting older, I still wasn't thrilled about clothes, shall we say. So I think that deep down, that's partly it. And more so, I think it was just making it and not having the confidence to wear it. You know, it's even still, you know, I make things and I put in the wardrobe. I don't wear them. I don't know why. I mean, I do, because still we've still got the lockdown mentality. I don't go out much other than shopping. And it seems silly putting nice frocks on when you're going shopping, you know, but perhaps I should.
Yes, you should.
I agree with Lynn.
We get dressed up to go for a cup of coffee. We put our best dress on to go for a cup of coffee.
And it's funny, in our local shopping mall, there's all these plaques on the wall to get your photograph taken. Like, these are North of England expressions, what we call Geordie expressions. And it's Hawaii man and higher and things like that. And you can get your photograph taken with that behind you, and it's lovely.
Have you had fun taking photos with those sayings behind you?
Yes, it's lovely. My son lives in Los Angeles, and he loves to see me photographs, you know. It's wonderful. I lost my youngest son at the beginning of the year, and that the sewing community has just been wonderful. You know, all his friends on Instagram.
Sorry, Linda.
It's all right. It's still raw, but you know.
Yeah.
But these girls have been absolutely wonderful. It's like having thousands of sisters. They're so kind. It's unbelievable. Before sewing and before getting into Instagram, I would have been here with my husband just grieving every single day. But I know that they're behind me, and I know I can, you know, turn on Instagram and speak to any one of them, and they would all be there for me. And that's all you could want for.
And that's from all around the world.
Yes.
Yeah, all around the world. In Sydney, Australia, we have a friend. We have friends in America. And as Linda says, Maria, it is a very supportive community. The sewing community is so very supportive. And yeah, we would have all been in our bedrooms or our sewing rooms, sitting alone sewing without the power of Instagram. So I love Instagram. Didn't know it until 2 years ago, but we met through Instagram, Linda. We've met so many other people, and I'm a big fan of Instagram.
What other communities on Instagram are you part of? So you're part of the Sew Over 50 community. So that's one.
Oh, that's a difficult one. It's just really the community for me is the Sew Over 50 community and other people that I meet who might be a lot younger than 50, but who share that same interest. So another community I'm part of, and Linda, the First for Fabrics community. It's a local store which sells fabric. And it's more than just a shop selling fabric. It's a place where we can go and meet up and then go for coffee. And lots of ladies now use that as a place where they can meet up. So I think fabric shops, Linda, is another place where we all tend to congregate. But for me, Sew Over 50 community, the people who run it must work so hard, because you always get a response. Whenever I tag Sew Over 50, there's a response very, very quickly. So it makes me feel part of that community.
And I'm also part of, there's an online fabric shop in Southern Ireland, and it's called Beyond the Pink Door. Andrea, who runs it, has Zoom nights on a Wednesday night and a Thursday night. So I'm always on the Zoom on a Thursday night. There's about 14 of us, And that's another thing that just, keeps you going. I look forward to my Thursday nights to speak to the girls. And I've done a few sewing collaborations with other girls. There's a girl I met, we went on holiday and she lives in Oxford and we were going further down south. We met up with Lynn, she's Old Soul, and she's originally from our part of the world. And she's, again, we just clicked. It's hard to describe, but I'm sure you've done the same yourself, Mary.
Of course.
You've got so much in common and it's nice. It's as if you've got your own little language, your own little...
Definitely, yeah.
You could be talking in front of a stranger and two sewists would understand what they were saying, but the stranger wouldn't have a clue. It's quite nice, actually.
Fat quarters comes to mind. Whenever I say the word fat quarters with people who don't sew, they cannot understand what I mean. So there you are. Fat quarters is part of our language.
Yes.
Or being best friends with your unpicker.
Yeah, seam ripper. I think I call mine a seam ripper.
Well, my husband is getting to know all the sewing jargon as well. He's sort of into it. My morning routine is to get up, have a shower and whatever, and then sit and have a coffee and watch the vlogs on TV. So he watches them too. That's my morning routine. Bloggers are wonderful people as well. They help you in every single way.
I mean, there's so many around the world and they've all got various techniques. So it's quite a good way of staying connected with people, but also learning so much.
True.
Definitely. I agree.
There's only one thing I've got against the Australian ones. When you show your fabrics, they're gorgeous and you think, oh, I can't get that.
You're talking about the merino fabrics as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think we'll both follow
the Dahlia Society.
When she has a fabric haul, I think, oh, and the linens, out of this world. Obviously, we could buy them from Australia, but the prices couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Seem to have much nicer fabric shops than we do, put it that way.
Oh, okay. I love coats and I love coatings. So the coatings that you can get, we can't get, but then I can't really wear them in Sydney in the winter.
No, exactly. Oh, well, it's plenty cold where we live. In the north of England, it's a very cold place in the winter. So we love those bouclés and those lovely French back terries, the soft fabrics, because we want to be cozy in the winter.
And all the tweed fabrics.
Yes.
Gorgeous. Yes. Well, for me, building the friendships is about being open to new people and new ideas. And it's about following people and learning from them. So I can just go on and, like I said with Linda, I couldn't figure out the pockets. So I contacted a sewist. And then there are other people who come on with such great tips about sewing, using your selve edges, for example.
Yes.
Or, little things like that, just by following someone and therefore becoming their friend, really, because if they follow back, you begin to build a friendship just by commenting on someone's post. So you just learn so much. And it's such a great feeling to actually say, I have lots of friends. And like Linda, it wasn't really like that before. I did have friends, but not many friends because I worked full time and had a very busy life. So I didn't make space for friends. But with Instagram, you can write to me during the day and then I can comment later and we can build up this whole conversation and therefore become friends through those conversations.
Yep.
So I really love that you can do that. Instagram's opened up that world for me. It's opened up a world in which I have a friend that I made 2 years ago in America. We still communicate. And that's a wonderful thing for me. And I've also got a friend who's only about 10 or 12 miles away, Linda. And we can actually meet up and chat over a cup of coffee, which is another good thing. Coffee and Instagram and sewing. What more could you ask for?
Exactly. And Linda?
I don't think I could add anything to that, Lynn. That was very good. You can tell she was a teacher, can't you? Talking about teachers, Marilyn, the other girl, she's a teacher as well. And the two of them can be very, very bossy.
Oh, Linda, I can't believe you just said that.
I'm only teasing.
Oh, well, that's good. Yes, it's a dreadful trait. If you've been a teacher, you are always a teacher, and people can pick you out in a crowd.
At the end of the day, life is really what you make it. And, you know, these people that we meet, the soists, they're so kind and so caring. And like Lynn said, nothing's a bother to them. You know, you contact them and say, I'm stuck with this, and they're there, you know, straight away. What other walk of life would that happen? You know, what other type of community would that happen? I don't think it would. And the age thing is as well. I mean, most times young people don't want anything to do with us, but we share the same experience with the young and the old. It's across the board. There's no age barrier in sewing, none whatsoever.
No, exactly. Well said.
And it's wonderful.
You've both done really well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed it.
We've talked a lot.
Lynn and Linda, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast with Sew Over 50 and sharing what your friendship means to you and how friendships in the sewing community, you know, they start with sewing, but it's actually more than that, and they help you through life. And there's no age barrier either.
Well said, Maria. I couldn't agree more.
Yes. It's a true sisterhood.
Well, thank you, Lynn and Linda.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Maria, for inviting us to speak about our friendship. We are so thrilled with it. And it'll be lovely for the people out there who don't realise how easy it is to make friends when you have that shared interest of sewing. So I do hope other people reach out to someone that you see on Instagram. And before you know it, you'll have a wealth of friends.
Ditto.
Ditto. And have a lovely day, listeners. This episode of Sew Organised Style podcast for Sew Over 50 was produced by me, Maria Theoharis, with permission of Lynne and Linda. Many thanks to the Sewing Angels of the North, Lynne and Linda, for sharing their life stories with us today. Also, a special shout out to Marilyn. Sound by bensound.com. You can subscribe to Sew Organised Style podcast, but with an S, not a Z, on all good podcast apps. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating and review. Support this podcast through our Patreon account, as well as every podcast is free. We have so many great Sew Over 50 podcasts for you to catch up on and hear from great people in the Sew Over 50 community. We hope our podcasts help you stay connected and make you smile. Post any questions or podcast suggestions you have on our podcast website at seworganisedstyle.com or on our Instagram account at seworganisedstyle or on our Facebook page. We look forward to joining you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.